Look at us now.
Oh, Jesus.
It's what, 11 a.m.?
Combat.
Oh, there it is.
You fit in seamlessly in this weird MK environment.
Do you want a margarita?
We're gonna do it. On your marks, get set, and go down. Oh, it's Friday. You ain't got no job. You ain't got nothing to do. So just watch Morning Kombat and hit the bong. I know our producer's going to do that. Welcome, everyone, on this 24th day of July, 2026, for another episode of Morning Kombat. My name is Luke Thomas. I am merely one half of your hosting duo. I join you from the capital of Estados Unidos, right here in Washington, D.C., joined by my friend over there. I mean, you would look at this guy and be like, is he an attorney or is he a guy who's going to work the graveyard shift at the local Quick Trip in Smyrna, Georgia? But believe it or not, he actually has the attorney credentials. It's Jed Tzsyu. Hi, Jed. How are you, bud?
Poor. Also, I actually know a guy who manages a Quick Trip, which is a sad state of affairs that you kind of spiked that so easily.
Bro, you got to be like, that's a tough job. You got to like know how
you
to
get paid
stock
pretty
shelves.
well, actually.
Yeah, you got to fist fight half the time, like it's a lot. That's a big responsibility.
Like that's his like actual job. Buddy of mine from college. He makes like six figures, which I'm astonished by, but you know.
Honestly, he made a better career choice than we did. I mean,
yeah. He's got like he doesn't have to worry that he might wake up and actually media's dead, so you don't have a job anymore.
Yeah.
So good on him.
People are still going to want their Gatorade and cigarettes in the mornings or their vapes. But welcome, Jed Tzsyu, of course, from MMAfighting.com. We have a lot to get to today. So, I mean, this is a weird one, Jed, because there are a lot of fights, boxing and MMA. Some of them, there are some gems out there. It's a lot of, the signal to noise ratio, though, not super strong, I would argue. Maybe you feel differently.
No, this feels like for as much action as there is this weekend, it feels really dead, which is, maybe it's just because Magomed Ankalaev brings everyone down. Like nobody is excited for Big Onk time. But also like, look at the boxing stuff that's going on this weekend. We're going to talk a lot about that. I know because I had fucking homework. Like you sent the sheet out and I was like, holy, we're half the show is boxing. What the hell do I have to give you thoughts on Anthony Joshua fighting something named Prenga? Like this is nonsense.
We won't spend a ton of time on that, obviously, but like boxing's in a bit of a weird place now where there is, to me, at least one, if not two good fights of intrigue on the weekend. There's a lot of ones that are just, kind of there, but they're not like utterly, they're mostly irrelevant, but not completely irrelevant. So it just kind of puts us in a place where you have to discuss it. Plus there's some interesting boxing's doing weird things.
That's like exactly where the MMA is this weekend. Like word for word. It's like there are a couple of interesting things that kind of matter. There are several squash matches. Like we're a bit spinning our wheels this week. If you cobbled it all together, you'll get 12 good fights probably though,
Yeah. I'll say this too, like they're back in Abu Dhabi and I find that strange, but like the fact that they're there to me seems like the greatest proof we have that the Emirates have cut a deal with the Iranians, because the Iranians are literally bombing Jordan, Bahrain, Kuwait, and we know they can reach UAE and they're just not doing it. So I can only imagine that the way that security could be guaranteed is if they had some kind of bilateral agreement independent of whatever else is happening broader in the region. Like how else do you go back to a place that could easily be bombed at any minute, at least in theory?
I mean, you take Magomed Ankalaev, who you don't care if they bomb him. I think that's the other answer that you can give to that. Oh, that's a shame. We lost Big Onk. Oh, no.
He lived a good life.
Yeah.
Let's go to the third member here of the panel, questionably sober, but he's here. It's Long Island Luke. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Here we go, evil. Here we go.
That's my new intro. I'm going to play that every time I come in. Guys, good to be here. A lot of fights this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. You guys were both in a somber mood before we went live. I'm trying to lift spirits. Luke, you're looking at me like you want to kill me. How we doing?
I wasn't somber. I had to like try and
Yeah, Jed's like,
read
I'm in
things.
college again. I gotta fucking do homework now. And Luke's like, oh, I'm on medicine. I don't feel good. And that I'm just sitting here like, when are we talking about bongs? I don't know.
Bro, half of being in your 40s is just managing decline. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't
Like,
know.
you don't actually ever feel good. The question is how much you can eliminate the like feeling bad, right? And that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, if I got hit by a truck tomorrow, it'd be bad for my wife and kid and shit. But listen, I had a good run.
Yeah.
Luke's
good
been eating
run.
that Taco Bell. He got the bubble gut going right now.
No, I didn't. I wish. I love supporting the bell, but I can't put it on this one this time. All right, and we're gonna get to, let's see, fan subs and dead wrongs and all those kinds of things, which of course, morningkombat@gmail.com is the place to email for that. You can see the socials there on the screen as well. The email, morningkombat@gmail.com. Let's remind everyone you can become a member of the channel. This includes emojis, badges, and more to come. And then on top of it all, there of course is the merch. This is not going to go on for too much longer, about another week or so. The end of July 31st, 20% off of all the designs we've recently kind of put out. You can still pick them, whichever one you like. You can get 20% off of them, and then the posters as well, 50% off all of them at morningkombat.shop. Before we get going any further, I one more quick question for you, Jed. Jed, you're a moviegoer like me. You like seeing the movies.
I love
Now,
movies.
I'm guessing you've seen The Odyssey. Did you
Sure
see
have.
it? How did you see it? What kind of screen format?
Oh, like Dolby Cinema or whatever. I'm trying. There is one of the 70 mil massive IMAX screens at the Mall of Georgia, but that's like 90 minutes away ish from me.
Yeah.
Also, it is like booked up. Like it's very hard to get a ticket to like a non 3 a.m. showing or whatever. So trying to go to that in a couple of weeks because I would absolutely see it again on a like in the format it's intended to, but I just saw it on like a regular big ass screen.
What's the worst movie you've seen recently?
Oh, dude, I see I go to like 50 movies a year in theaters. So the worst one
Recently.
I can't be Disclosure Day. I hated Disclosure Day, but that's at least like a well-made film. Mortal Kombat was really bad. That was a very, very bad film. Like there were some charming, fun parts to it. Let me pull up my list and see if like something else is jumping out. I really hated Disclosure Day, but I can acknowledge that it's still Spielberg. Like he knows how to make films. Mortal Kombat was pretty poor. What's the worst thing other than The Odyssey, which is not remotely
I
true.
rented Mandalorian when it came to streaming.
Oh, and Grogu, I'm sure that's terrible. That has to
it's
be just a pile of shit.
Dude, they should line up the movie makers and fly them out to The Hague and try them for crimes against fucking art. I mean, how that got greenlit is honestly shocking to me. But all right, neither here nor there. I was just kind of curious. All right, let's talk about this. Topic number one, we're going to start with where you would imagine we would start, which is the main event for the UFC event this weekend. Of course, as you know, Magomed Ankalaev makes his return to the octagon after losing his title, taking on Bogdan Guskov. You can see, boy, they got some mangled noses in different directions, these two, on this fight poster here. The fight card itself is a little bit lackluster, which we'll talk about in topic number two, but just kind of keeping it about the main event. I mean, I would say it's good that we're seeing Ankalaev back, but the state of light heavyweight, it just raises a lot of questions. Namely, how would you describe things at 205 pounds right now? And what does this main event even really do to remedy it? Or at a bare minimum, where does it fit in within how 205 is currently operating?
Dire is the first word I wrote down when I was compiling notes for this. Like has 205 ever been this bad, Luke?
No.
It feels like this is the worst it's ever been.
It is quite literally the worst it's ever been. Yes.
Like it's just, I didn't realize until the past 6 months, like how much, and like we sort of did, we talked about it in general, but it's one thing to sort of know and intrinsically and to feel it, how much Poatan was keeping this division alive. Like he was just, and then his absence, and then like maybe Carlos Ulberg could have been the guy, like, and maybe he still can in time, but him winning the vacant belt, awesome, like super cool finish or whatever, like that's sick. One of the best KOs of the year, given the circumstances. but then, hey, I'm gone for a year. And he hasn't even been like out there too. Like maybe it would be better if he was being super public while he's walking around on crutches or whatever, and like trying to be the standard bearer. But he just took his belt and went home and is rehabbing his knee. And I haven't heard from him in 6 months or however long it's been since he blew up Yuri. So like, what's Robert Whittaker, who God bless him, like got a win, didn't look that good to me in beating a guy who's super washed in Krylov. And he's like a top 10 guy. Like this division is in shambles. It desperately needs, realistically, Bogdan Guskov to kill Magomed Ankalaev for there to be some kind of juice going on right now.
So well, then why did the UFC make this fight? Because like on some level you have to keep Ankalaev busy if you're going to keep him. Is it your belief that they just really don't have a desire to build around him? And of course, this was not the original main event. The original one was Khalil Roundtree. He got injured, so now it's Guskov and kind of relatively late notice. But like, where does Ankalaev is good enough that we know where he ranks? What I'm saying is, where do you think he features in UFC's plans?
Do you think they care about him? It does not seem that they care about him. When he won the belt, it took him a long time to get to fight for the belt, right? Like he was on that path. Some of that's maybe justifiable, right? Like he does have, for rightly or wrongly, he has a view. People think he is a boring fighter. Sometimes he has been boring. Sometimes he's actually pretty fun, right? Like he's a mixed bag in that way. And it just seems like the UFC doesn't care about him. And then as soon as he beat Pereira, they were like, let's do this again. We've got to get the belt back on Poatan because we don't want to be behind this guy. And, the Roundtree fight, like Roundtree's been looking good. Roundtree's a guy I think they would like to get behind. So maybe he loses that. Now, once that fell apart here, it's just sort of, I don't know what to make with the leftovers in the fridge. I guess this is what we've got. He still might be the best 205er in the world now that Poatan's gone, right? Like, and that should mean something, but Luke, like merit matters the least it's ever mattered in the UFC right now. And so I don't personally feel like they're behind him. Do you think that they do? At best, they're ambivalent is my view on him, if not actively antagonistic toward him.
I mean, the thing is, I definitely want to say that, and my gut tells me, of course, just your rational observation would tell you that is true. So I don't really disagree with it in that sense. But I mean, here's a couple of the problems, right? Like, it's like the Phil Davis thing. It's like, dude, if you're going to be in business with Phil Davis, you're going to have to match Phil Davis tough, and he's going to beat good guys and maybe not like really gain much of a following in the process. Like, you kind of have to decide whether you want to be or not be in the Phil Davis business altogether. It's like, I don't know that they really even want to be in the Ankalaev business, but the problem is they were like, oh, well, all these guys are moving up and RDR is moving up, and maybe that'll be something we'll see with his fight when he takes on, who's it, Roman Dolidze. Or then there is, guys like Boashinya moving up to 205, but he's got one fight left and he's out there taking photos with Eddie Hearn. So it's like, what do they really have to go on? And so I feel like, why would you keep a guy like Ankalaev on the roster if you genuinely don't have any plans to build around him? And my feeling is, Jed, that they really don't want to if they don't have to, but that they're they are so short-staffed, they're kind of keeping him on reserve in case they have no choice but to build around him by virtue of just kind of who's floating around there, given the exodus of talent that has also left 205 in addition to the incoming talent from middleweight.
Yeah, it feels like this is if we have to, but like we at MMA Fighting, we will periodically answer the question of like, hey, let's do another MMA trade. Remember we did this one time and now what if we did it again? And every single time we talk about that question, I'm like, they should just try and trade Ankalaev for Dakota Ditcheva. Like, I don't think PFL would do that, but you give him Ankalaev and another trade piece, and maybe you get Dakota Ditcheva, and everybody can be doing better than they are because they're just not. If he gets pushed or becomes champion again, it is because they have no other options. It is not. He's not their first, second, or third choice for sure.
In either direction, are there title implications with a bout like this?
Yeah, 100%. It has to be. Look at the state of 205. Look, like who Anybody who wins at 205 has a title implication because maybe that's just the time. Like, look at who I've pulled up the UFC's meta rankings right now. Jamal Hill has lost like 1 million in a row and is number 5.
He went to heavyweight anyway.
And is going to heavyweight. I mean, already went, if you're looking at his IG photos. That man has, I don't want to body shame anybody, but that man is enjoying food since he decided to move up to heavyweight. Yuri, I love Yuri. I love Yuri like a family member. I think we can probably be done with the Yuri thing, like push. He can move into fun fight, not championship fight. Yuri. Poaton's gone. Alberg's on the shelf. Big Onk time. Like Paulo Costa is the only dude with any real juice. And like you said, he might be out soon. Like any good win gets you there. I certainly, if Ankalaev wins, like it's just a very easy fight to make, Ankalaev versus Alberg next year once Alberg's knee is back. And if Guskov wins, then he just beat the number 2 dude. Like then, so yeah, 100%. This probably is just straight up a title eliminator because there's nothing else going on.
How good is Bogdan Guskov? He had a loss to Özdemir in his debut, but Özdemir's good, and I think obviously tough to beat. And then he had a draw, I should say, against Blachowicz, who's a little over the hill, but a tough out. He had 4 wins in a row between them. Those are all really great. Ankalaev is a donk, but when he is not being a donk, he obviously has considerable ability. Like, where is Guskov just a guy here because they had to fill in the role because of Roundtree? Like, is there anything more to it than that, or how do you understand what space he really occupies in this division?
Dude, Bogdan Guskov is the money you find in your couch. You didn't know it was there, and you're like, oh, this is kind of nice. I found $5. Let's go get a candy bar or whatever. Like he's not supposed to be like really here. He's supposed to just be a fun dude. Like you say, you love to call him Donkalaev, and I get it. But like as far as donking goes, Bogdan Guskov's whole fight style is much more like devil may care, chuck him and see who falls down, And that's just a super fun guy. He's a guy you should always have on roster, right? Like you put him and Yuri Prochazka in there against each other, you're just going to have a good time. Like you're just going to have a real good time. The fact that he's won enough over significant enough names and like he's not like technically developing. He's just hitting. He's hitting the motherfucker in there. And if you hit enough of them, maybe you get to fight for a belt. And so I think if the UFC had their druthers, they would absolutely pick Noho Hank to get the win here. Because like he would just be a fun dude. Whereas Ankalaev sometimes can be fun, is very, very skilled, like one of the more skilled fighters in the weight class ever. But like nobody's excited about it. Guskov, you could at least get behind if you made a title run,
If we're looking at the X's and O's on this one, this is where the Donkalaev thing comes into play for me, right? Because it's like a guy like Ankalaev, if he can't win on the feet, should be able to win on the ground, right? And has a jab when he wants one, sometimes has good footwork when he needs it. Certainly is, I think, the better grappler of the two, both offensively and defensively. But, Ankalaev just got run over in his last fight. And, I don't think that he is exactly, you know what? No, I don't think that's true. Here's what I was trying to say. Would he try to win this one? Not excitingly, but like he makes such crazy decisions at times where you don't understand why he's fighting a particular way, but his default will be on the feet. I suspect for as long as that will last. What kind of complexion do you think this fight takes? Do you think Ankalaev tries to just win this one on the feet without exerting extra effort onto the ground, or does he make this one more of a control affair?
He's almost certainly going to try and stand on the feet until he feels a reason not to. Like he's not really a wrestler. Like he can do it. It's a thing that he does, right? Like he is very capable of it, but he's not, just because he has Ayev in the name doesn't mean that he is trying to take you down and smash on the ground. Like he mostly just wants to use sort of a range power boxing style. I think that can straight up beat Guskov, but if Guskov gets inside and starts chucking the hammers, like then Ankalaev might be like, oh, okay, I should probably take him down. Like we've seen him do this before. So if he comes out and just immediately like turns into prime GSP and starts hitting knee taps, I'll be like, oh, he's not donking this up at all. He's gone full like tactical brilliant or whatever. And that'll suck because the fight won't be interesting at all. If he does do his normal thing and just tries to win a kickboxing bout, this gets pretty fun though, Luke. Like, because Bogdan Guskov, he's a good time. If you're not taking him down, he's a good time.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I suspect that this fight might find its way to the floor no matter what. Guskov will take some risks on the feet. He's got some ability on the feet as well. He lands more than Ankalaev does statistically. Let me pull these numbers up here if I can. Yeah, almost by a full integer, 4.57 strikes landed per minute to 3.65 for Ankalaev. He just kind of gets active.
A full integer. God, you're so cool, Luke. A full integer. One extra strike. We don't need to use the word integer, Luke. It's fine.
Oh my God. Are you guys policing use of the word integer?
Here we go, evil. Here we go.
I'm just mocking you for that. That's just can't do it.
I mean, this is that would be the okay. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Point I'm trying to make is he gets active. Now, conversely, he gets hit more. 4.09 to a much more modest 2.59 for Ankalaev. But that's not really the big one for me because he gets hit more because he takes more risks. That seems relatively obvious. The one that's interesting to me is takedown defense. 57% for Bogdan Guskov, not particularly high. And he has a 0% takedowns per 15 minutes and the 0% takedown accuracy. I'm guessing because he's never even attempted one in the UFC. There's no way to even measure it, right? It's not like he's failing at it. There's nothing to collect. I have to say, this seems like statistically a situation, Jed, where Guskov is going to, maybe Ankalaev does well, but eventually Guskov is going to land something and get active after it to kind of, chase it down. And Ankalaev is going to want to tie him up. I feel like that is just a way that this is going to go. Whether or not he does a lot on the ground, it remains to be seen. But I just feel like there's an inevitability that this hits the floor at some point.
Yeah, unless Ankalaev gets just jawed early, that would really be the only way. Because we've seen him do it, right? Ankalaev could just decide I'm going to Johnny Walker him and just tackle him and then beat him up on the floor, and that would probably be very efficient. But I think that if that happens, it will happen later, but it will happen. So this is if Guskov can get him, can Bogdan, blow him up before Ankalaev. Blow him up enough that Ankalaev can't go, oh shit, I'm hurt, I need to take you down. That's really going to be the deciding factor on whether this goes to the floor or not.
Yeah, there's no question about it. One more time, getting to the division itself, I'm glad you pointed out with Poatan because it's kind of funny, right? One thing that was never really a part of the debate around Fighter of the Year circa 2024. Poatan won it. Topuria was the other guy. Then you kind of flip it. Well, you couldn't flip it for 2025, but you get the idea. I think more people thought that Poatan deserved it over Topuria. But one of the interesting things that you could put now additionally in Poatan's favor was that if you take him out of that division for UFC 300 or whatever, not only does it make that event much worse, but there's no electricity in that division at all, absent what he was for the most part trying to do. He was propping it up almost by himself. And now that he is gone and apparently has no intentions to return, it really is kind of shocking the disrepair we find ourselves in. Perhaps one way to look at this going forward for Fighter of the Year considerations, Jed, is to what extent this division has life beyond what the person winning in it does. And if one guy is the architect of a division's saving grace, I'd be open to the idea that should count more than the case where a division is just alive and full and someone did really well in it. But were you the most valuable? I don't know. That's a kind of a different consideration, right?
It is. Never thought about it. That's still not how I would do it, but I think that there's a valid argument. My primary thing for Fighter of the Year is not who's the most valuable fighter, or it's purely the way I try to frame it in my head when I'm doing my selection process or voting or whatever is in 5 years, when we look back on this year, who is going to be the fighter who we think of first? And it's in 04 was Ilya Topuria. I don't know. He did a lot of really cool shit in 2024. That's it. And so that's sort of always been my principle, but you're not wrong. Like that, if that feels like a different sort of award or different merit, but like as far as the most valuable fighters to the promotion, I mean, Poatan has really been that for the last couple of years, outside of even factoring in how dire 205 is without him, right? Like that has come into stark contrast since he moved up to heavyweight. And also kind of just like, dude, go back to 205. Like, you can save this weight class. It needs you at heavyweight. Like, what are we doing up here? You had the shot, it failed, go back. So, but it doesn't seem like he's doing that. He's mostly just being really mad at Herb Dean lately. That's what Poatan's doing.
Fair enough. Put the poster up one more time. What do we have here? No, I thought it was a different one. I apologize. At the Etihad Arena. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's the main event. Feelings about predictions. Do you have one for us here? Like, I'm gonna go. I'll go Ankalaev decision. Something like that. I don't know. What do you think?
I'll go Ankalaev. Probably late TKO, right? Like, just that feels
third or fourth.
Yeah, third or fourth. Like, Guskov his gas tank is not exceptional. Especially because I think he's going to come out throwing heat early, so he's probably going to get tired if he doesn't get him out early. It's going to be, in my opinion, it'll be a tactical gamble of, I'm going to Terrence McKinney this. I will either win in this first round or I will lose late, because I will probably lose late anyway. So, and then Ankalaev will take him down and finish him I'll go third, not even fourth. I'll go third round finish for Ankalaev.
Long Island, where are you on this one? And in particular on the odds themselves?
The odds themselves, I took an over 1.5. I'm going to be sweating it because it's a Bogdan Guskov fight, and I feel like the dude just is a hammer. He fucking wants to get people out of there, get himself out of there, whatever. But I feel like, Jed, you nailed the prediction on the head. I took on Tapology, Ankalaev KO round 3. I feel like this goes a little long at first, and then I don't know, how's Bogdan going to look after round 3? You know what I mean? I don't even know if it gets there, but I'm more like he's going to blow his load, no pun intended, in the first round or two, and then have to whatever. Yeah, you guys are looking at me weird for that. So
that was weird.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I fully expect him to win via TKO after he ejaculates. I'm like, I don't think that's the way we talk here.
I want to so much. What do you think? No pun intended means? Because was not the appropriate phrase.
No punch intended.
Oh, okay. It's like not really a pun you've made there. It's something very different.
Long Island's like, Long Island goes like, yeah, blow guys. I'm no pun intended. I'm like, I don't think that's how you.
Dicks everywhere, dicks.
That's not how that works. That's not the way.
It's not gay if you say no pun intended. That's like, everyone knows that.
Why don't you go worry about integers? How about that? Well, the two of you, motherfuckers.
Fuck you, bro. Look, I'm just saying, when you say stuff like that, that's when people are like, oh yeah, Luke's a bit on his high horse over here.
How is
here we
go?
Pinky finger out integers. Oh, the integers, yes, that's indubitably.
I don't. It has always been the craziest thing to me that the words that are most appropriate are somehow seen as a conscious choice to flex on an audience that has repeatedly made it clear to me that they don't like it, but I don't know how else to do it because that's just the way that my brain operates. It's very, very strange. It's a very, very strange way to go through life and be like, oh, the weather's nice. Who the fuck do you think you are? Like, okay, all right. I didn't know we were doing that.
I'm a cup of tea and I really want to vape.
Well, there's also that part too. Yes, that is the secondary component. All right. Speaking of which, the secondary component, let's talk about the rest of this card here, Jed. Topic number 2. All right. I'm not sure what to say. The main event is not horrible, but it's not inspiring. And, there's plenty of other criticisms to make of it. There are some decent fights and certainly a couple of interesting names on this card. I think that is what I would say. But Jed, before we go anywhere else, and here, of course, if you're watching on the stream, you can see a picture of the entire card. Prelims, by the way, 9 a.m. Main card, 12 p.m. Yes, that's right. Not prelims, 9 a.m. Main card, 12 p.m. Eastern. Jed, if we can here. Oh, we lost Jed? What happened? We lost Jed?
Jed just lost power. He'll be back in a second. Luke,
oh, he lost power? Yo, why is he living in a van down by the river?
I don't know. I think his apartment may or may not have flooded again, and now he lost. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think it flooded. But
yo, my man is like, it's like, hey, today I have internet. Tomorrow I won't have electricity. I had to prepare for this event via candle power bedside with my oil lamp or some shit. You know what I mean?
The best part is when he cut out, it was frozen on him smiling so much. So I was like, damn, he's really enjoying this conversation. And then I got a text from him like, my power went out. I'll be back in a sec. All right.
Yeah. Put up the thing one more time. So I'll answer the question. As I mentioned, prelims at 9 a.m. in the East, main card at 12 p.m. in the East. It's just not a lot happening here on this particular card. I would not give this one a super high rating. I think there are a couple of fun fights down the line. I think there's some interesting names that they're trying to build up as well. We'll talk about some of those in just a minute here if we can. Although all the way down to they got Mike Davis on this card, which I think him against Nurullo Aliyev is maybe one of the more underrated fights on the card. Oh, hey, are you churning your own butter over there in the worst infrastructure in the country? What's going on?
Unclear. The entire power to the building went out for 10 seconds and then came right back on. I was like, all right, well, all right. Good. I was in the process of texting Luke to be like, hey, my power's out. I can try and tether off my phone. And then it was back. I was like, oh, it's fine. So hopefully that doesn't happen again.
There are, to me, interesting names on this card, and there are a few interesting fights on this card. But Jed, give me a rating, a grade, some kind of way to evaluate card quality.
So I have two systems for rating cards. It's a tiered thing. We won't get into the upper tier because it's not an upper tier card. But basically, I just look at all the fights on the card and I'm like, which of these fights are above contender series level fights? You know, like, do they have ranked guys in them? Are they meaningful? Or, you know, top 20 guys, well-known fighters? I got about 6. I think we're looking around 6 good quality fights in this. And then the rest are squash matches, prospect development, et cetera, et cetera. So not terrible. And certainly like a couple of fights that I'm pretty interested in. Even the fights that aren't good fights, I think should yield exciting results. So if you're waking up Saturday morning, you have your coffee, your bacon and eggs or whatever, and you just want to watch some people get blown up, you've got a few options here. So not a bad card, but very, very low on name value on this card, certainly.
I don't understand the main card construction. Like for me, you know, for example, you know, Walter Walker, Thomas Peterson, that doesn't have to be on the main card, but I don't understand why Islam Dulatov and Wellington Turman is on the main card. I would also argue a fight like Nurullo Aliyev and Mike Davis might be better up there. Honestly, Axel Sola back in action against Ismail Bonfim. Like, why wouldn't those be on the main card over the ones that they picked? What am I missing?
So Dulatov, I get being on the main card. I don't think he should be the feature bout, right? Like that's a bit overt. Like they're just trying to build Dulatov as a marketable dude. Pretty exciting fighter, handsome man, so they can put him on posters and stuff. Not like a developed prospect, still needs work, but this is a squash match against the dude who hasn't fought in like 4 years or however the hell long it's been since Wellington Turman fought. So like that being on the main card makes some sense to me. Being as high as it is does not. Like I like the actual Sola Bonfim fight a ton. I get that it's not broadly appealing. This is the bad Bonfim. I am surprised Walter Walker isn't on the main card because he has been a bright spot at the heavyweight, you know, division. But like if you're just tiering this card off of quality fights, then it's all backwards. Half these fights are trash. Like Chonko shouldn't really be on the main card either, but he's popular for reasons that still I don't understand. But like, yeah, that's the card construction is weird, but this is they are not trying to put the best fights in prime positions. They're trying to position fighters they would like in prime positions.
Yeah, I don't know. Just for me, putting Cunha versus Fortune on the main card over some of these other choices.
Top 10 heavyweights, baby.
I mean,
title implications.
Who cares? Who cares? All right.
That fight is going to be a tough watch.
That's going to be a tough one, man. I don't get it.
They're going to go real heavyweighty real fast.
I mean, quite literally, their heavyweight division has turned into Bellator's old heavyweight division. I mean, it's just insane how much it's declined. All right, but let's talk about that co-main event. Steve Erceg taking on Ramazan Temirov. Let me just sort of put the question to you this way. How high on Temirov are you generally, and then specifically here against Erceg?
Pretty high generally. I don't know if I see him as title challenger. right? Or title winner, probably, or possibly title challenger. The thing is though, flyweight got awesome in the last like 2 years. They tried to kill this division, which was always very stupid of them. And then suddenly there's just like a whole bunch of hot shit people in this weight class now. Joshua Van is obviously the biggest as the champion and still 24, but you've got Lonnie Kavanaugh, Tetsuro Taira, Nakamura, like all these other dudes on the rise in this weight class that are just sick. So he's kind of in the mix of this new class. Maybe he fights for a title, maybe he doesn't. I mean, shit, I would have thought, speaking of other rising fighters, Manel Kape would have fought for a title by now. It seems like he's probably going to get one soon-ish, but that took him a long time. And so maybe Timurov doesn't get there because I think he's got a little more. It's hard to critique a guy who's won for the last 6 years or whatever, but we haven't seen him in a while. I'll be interested to see how this comes, coming off the suspension. I think this fight is perfect. Like, it's a great comeback fight to sort of get a gauge, because I don't know how this goes. Like, in a big picture sense, I kind of want to take Timurov just as a young ascending talent, but Erceg is huge for this weight class. Timurov is not that big for a flyweight in general. He's rangy. Timurov likes to just throw as hard as he can, but like not too aggressive, but like pockets of aggression. And if Erceg does end up, like, Erceg can get jawed, but he's also pretty good at maintaining a long range fight using his like physical advantages. So it's just a really competitive matchup to see. Hey, if Timurov has the goods, we're going to find out. And if he loses, that might not be like damning for him. It will sort of depend the way he loses. But I love this fight. I think this co-main event's great.
Do you believe Erceg still deserves to be considered top of the division? I mean, he's got the 2 wins in a row against Ode Osborne and Tim Elliott, although there's a question of like, how he looked, I think, in the Elliott fight in certain spots anyway. But he did get the job done. He didn't look
great against Ode either.
That's another way he didn't look great again. I'm just sort of speaking more recently, but yes, you could throw the Osborne fight in there too. Nevertheless, he did get the job done. He has a 5-inch reach advantage, and he does have a jab when he wants it. Oh, by the way, we have breaking news we'll get to here in just a... No, that's not real.
That can't be real.
That's fucking real, what you just sent?
Shams just tweeted it, bro. LeBron James just signed with the Philadelphia 76ers on a 2-year, $8 million deal. Super cheap deal, by the way.
Didn't they just offload Paul George?
Yeah, but they got Jaylen Brown, which was an upgrade.
Oh,
Paul George Celtics got duped in that trade.
So so the big 3 there are going to be Jaylen Brown, LeBron, and Embiid?
Yeah, and then they also got Maxey, right? Maxey's still there. They got a solid little core.
I'm not enough knowledgeable about the NBA, but like, if you're going to take basically no money, like $8 million that's not money. That's nothing.
That's nothing.
Like, even at his age in today's NBA, he could have got 20 mil a year easily.
Correct, easily. But like,
crazy. Yeah.
I don't judge him for not taking the money. But if you're like, why not just sign like for $0 to fucking OKC or whatever? Like, just go blatantly ring chase. Like, who cares?
I think that's what he thinks he's doing. I think he thinks 76ers is his blatant ring chasing, but we'll see how they work out.
Interesting. All right. In terms of Erceg, he back? He down? He up? Where is he?
I think that Steve Erceg the water has found its level, is my thoughts on Steve Erceg. Because remember, when this dude came in, like, yeah, he was what's the Hex Lux? What's the Australian eternal MMA champ or whatever. And so there was like but nobody was super jazzed. It was like, oh yeah, like good regional champion, solid. And then kind of got rushed to a title fight, quite frankly, just because he had one really cool KO. Like, he think about how insane it is that knocking out Matt Schnell was like, gotta give this guy a title fight, can't do anything else. Like, that's an insane thing to say. Was rushed there, performed quite well against Pantoja, but really just felt like he was overachieving in general. He was rolling very high. Then Kai Kara France comes back down to earth, loses a few in a row, and people write him off. Now he hasn't looked amazing, but certainly early in fights, he's definitely a slow starter, which is a big question for me in this fight. But like, he has found where he's at, right? Like he is a top 15, top 10 flyweight, probably not a top 5 guy. And so that's why the Timurov fight is interesting to me, because it's like, is Timurov a top 5 guy? Like that's, if you can't beat Steve Erceg, you're not that, at least not yet.
I think that's a pretty fair way to put it. All right, elsewhere on this card, if we can, as you can see here, the card is being put on the screen again. You got the John Pork situation. He's taking on, I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name correctly, so please forgive me. I'll just say Damian Rizbecki. I'm not sure how it's properly pronounced. And then you got the John Pork thing. For folks who don't know where the name comes from, we actually have a video about it. We'll just play here for a second. Check this out.
No junk pork. Chanko. No junk pork.
I introduced my team. This guy, Chanko, 2 times world professional Muay Thai champion. Oh.
There you go. It's like it's just a play on sounds essentially. Yeah. But all right, he's 8-0. Jed, is he any good?
I have no idea. He seems okay. He's like, for a 30-year-old dude to be 8-0 is like, what's your ceiling? You know, like, you're going to get better because you're new to the game, but you need to get better in a hurry because you are really running up against the limit of your athletic prime. He seems okay. He seems like a guy who is B plus, but has, for whatever reason, he caught fire. The meme happened, and then he got way more popular. And so they're going to give him good looks. So we probably won't know how good he is. Not dissimilar, frankly, to who's the juggalo you continue to refer to from last weekend on Monday's show? Yeah, like McMillan's a little bit younger, not that much though, but it's like good, definitely a good fighter. I have no idea how good, and we are unlikely to figure that out because they are not going to get matchups that will test them in any real way. There'll be showcase fights, there'll be developmental fights, and that's okay. Like that's how you build prospects, but I can't imagine a super high ceiling for him. He's 30 years old. Like, am I crazy?
No, although the guy he's fighting in this particular case is making his UFC debut and is 24 years old. So it's like,
also seems like he's actually not like a terrible fighter, but he's probably just outmatched
untested
here.
Yeah.
Like I looked a little bit at some FEN stuff and seems okay, but like still super raw. He's 24.
I just don't. This is why, like, this fight being on the main card. I don't.
This fight shouldn't be on the main card.
Yeah,
it's only there
really
because Chanko is popular.
Dude, how bad is Kuniev Fortune going to be?
I'm going to have a great time. It's going to be. It's going to be awful. Like over under 50 significant strikes landed between the two of them. Like they're just going to be holding each other for quite a long time. It's going to be funny, but it's not going to be a good fight.
All right, I'll tell you the ones that I do care about. Let's sort of run through them here if we can. Walter Walker taking on Thomas Peterson. Walker seems to be making a name for himself, obviously, as a submission artist. He's 15-1, just 28 years old at heavyweight. That seems like comically young, coming off of a win over Louis Sutherland, which he got in the first round via heel hook. And, of course, the Kennedy and ZQU one before that was also heel hook, as well as the Dontel Mays, as well as Junior Tafa, all of them via heel hook back to back to back to back. I don't really see any reason here why this wouldn't go the other way. Thomas Peterson seems like a fine fighter, 11-4, currently sitting at 31 years of age. He's kind of up and down inside of the UFC, but nothing particularly special. I don't know why Walker wouldn't win here, but he always makes it fun and different. So for that reason, I'm kind of looking forward to this one, I suppose.
Yeah, he's going to heel hook this dude inside of 7 minutes. But when somebody gets on a run like this, I'm interested because I want to see how long it can go and how long until somebody just sells out to not lose this way, right? Because if Thomas Peterson doesn't want to get leg locked, there are options to not get leg locked because you know that Walter Walker is going to leg lock you. Like he's coming in, winning is secondary. Winning by leg lock is the primary incentive here. And so like, do you do everything possible to just give up anything else? It's like a little fun mini game inside the actual game of fighting. But yeah, he's probably gonna he's gonna get leg locked. I want to see Walter Walker hit like a Berimbolo into a leg lock. That would be sick. Like find new and interesting ways to heel hook Bozo heavyweights instead of just heel hooking Bozo heavyweights.
Also on this card, Dustin Jacoby taking on Mohamed Saeed. Saeed, an interesting striker, but making his UFC debut. Ponzinibbio versus Patterson doesn't do much for me, but the one that does, there's a couple of them. Ismail Bonfim taking on Axel Sola. Axel Sola had a bit of a rough run-ish in his last fight against Mason Jones, which was his second fight in the UFC. This guy was a big name coming out of Aries, a gigantic fighter for the weight class. I have to sneeze here in just a excuse me, just a second. But Mason Jones is a tough-ass fighter. Very skilled, very durable, very crafty. Ismail Bonfim is dangerous, I would argue, Jed, but not nearly as crafty as Mason Jones. This feels like a much more appropriate matchmaking for where Sola is.
Yeah, no, this fight is awesome. Bonfim is like, because he's not his brother, he gets written off, and to some extent that's fair. He's not nearly as good, but he's still, like you said, dangerous. I think dangerous is a good word. And Sola had a setback against a really hard-nosed guy in Mason Jones, but he's still young. Looked awesome in Aries. I still think the future is bright for him. He should win this, but there's real resistance here. And if he's doesn't mind his P's and Q's, he could get, something untoward could happen to him. So one of my favorite fights of the weekend. Like, there are 3 or 4 on the UFC card I'm super high on. This is one of them.
And then for me, Mike Davis, who I think is one of the more underrated fighters, frankly, on the UFC roster anywhere, but he's obviously had some issues staying healthy and remaining competitive. Or when I say remaining competitive, I mean like actually getting out there and competing. Taking on Nurullo Aliyev, the Tajik Eagle, 25 years old. This guy is very, very impressive to me. Beat Shamrock, beat Joe Selesky. Both of those were via decisions, and a guy like Davis has the ability to drag this one out, so I would not expect to finish here. This is a tough test in either direction for them. This is a well-matched bout. Some of these bouts feel like they're just putting things together. This one feels like there's a little bit of connectivity that is important.
This was a co-main event of the best fights of the weekend. Like just straight up. Maybe the former PFL main event could have also been in the mix. That fell apart. We'll get to that later, but like, this is Aliyev looks to have the goods. Mike Davis, for the longest time, Mike Davis was like my good friend and compatriot in fighting Mike Heck's like guy. It's like, if Mike Davis can ever fight, like if he could ever just fight a bunch, he'd be the best guy. He fell apart against Ziam. Ziam's like a really weird guy though, because he's 8 feet tall at lightweight. So like it's a difficult thing to manage for anybody. But Mike Davis, super talented. He fought twice last year, is getting in again this year. Like, maybe he's got the injury issues, the layoff issues behind him, and can build some like actual rhythm. But against Aliyev, it's just this dude is really, really talented. How old is Aliyev?
25.
Jesus. Yeah, he's going to be a problem, especially if he has that sort of like Habib-esque career run where like, okay, maybe he's more a controlling fighter. He's not like blowing your doors off with finishes early and then just starts adding that component to his game. He's going to be a huge problem in like 4 years.
Long Island Luke is saying he's 26, but they say here his birthday is December of 2000, which means he wouldn't be 26 until then.
What website are you on? SureDog has October 16th, 1999, 26
So that's
years
funny.
old.
No, I'm on Tapology.
The old Tapology SureDog debate. I don't know who's correct here, but they got differing ages.
Interesting. But
Either way,
Tajikistan, stand up. You got a real dude.
Long Island. Who else on this call? By the way, this guy trained out of Kaizen here in locally in DC. No shit.
Who's
He
that?
did. That's funny.
Aliyev?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Anyway, Long Island. Who on this
guy then.
card? Or which,
you got to get
which
behind
matchups?
All right. Well, co-main event, Jed said, best fight in the card. It really is. And, Australian, I got to root for Steve Erceg, but I'm really high on Ramazan Temirov. I'm shocked at these odds. It's been a pick'em like all week. I got Temirov at plus money. But, dude, when I saw him at plus money, I was like, oh, as soon as people see this, he's going to be a huge favorite. Erceg's going to be plus money. No, it's just sitting at a pick'em right now. So I don't really know why. I think Ramazan's going to win that. Not easily, but I think he's definitely going to win that. And, Luke, you kind of just walked right past this fight, but to me, this is a fun banger. I don't care how old he is, how long in the tooth, but Santiago Ponzinibbio, Sam Patterson, That's gonna be fun, man. For however long it lasts. Why are you guys both shaking your head? That's gonna be.
I mean,
I'm with
that's
Luke on this,
that's
man.
just a fight that's happening on the
Or
card.
you?
Who
I
cares?
feel like you guys are thinking of Sam Patterson versus MVP and not thinking of 4 finishes.
No,
in the
I'm
first round,
thinking
Sam
of
Patterson.
Old Yeller, and my favorite scene in Old Yeller is not watching the old dog get put down. That's not fun,
bro. Sam Patterson's long in the tooth too. Ponzi's going to be working that jab, but you could see something working here. I don't know. I'm looking forward to that fight. I'll just say that
Ponzi has a puncher's chance at that. He hasn't looked good, and he's 40. He's done. Like this is a sad fight to me.
Patterson, to the point that Long Island raises, certainly, obviously, his last fight not that case, but like before that was on a hot streak, and hopefully he'll pick it back up again. I'm not saying it's going to be a bad fight as such, but like, oh, I'm invested in this. Why would I be invested in that? Like, I don't. There's nothing to.
I am at least interested to see Patterson get back on track because he was on such a good run, and then he got probably the hardest guy in the weight class to look good against, especially a guy you were a training partner with for a lot of rounds, and like we just know how those fights go. So I'm willing to give him a pass for that, but like I don't need to see Ponzi take this L because he's about to take this L.
Yeah, I can agree with that. All right, let's go to topic number 3. Let's turn our attention to the PFL. They're actually in my hometown. They're here in Washington, D.C. this weekend. They're going to be at the Care First Arena, which is the Southeast Arena where the Mystics play. I actually think it's a good call, by the way, Jed, that they're down there. But when they've come here previously, they've tried to go to venues that didn't make a lot of sense. So, like, for example, they went to the Anthem, which is a music venue, about a 5,000-seater music venue on the wharf. This is a cool area of the city, a lot of shops, a lot of restaurants, a lot of hotels. Like, it makes sense in that way, but it's like a weird music venue. So, like, the way you had to construct it doesn't make sense. I can think one of the things that I think PFL has done is just kind of clean up a lot of this weird stuff that they were doing. And this is about a 4,000 or 5,000 person arena, which is about right for what they're doing. Here's the problem. They brought one of the best fights of the weekend. It was supposed to be for the vacant welterweight title between rising phenom for them, Thad Jean, and then Shamil Musayev. And Shamil Musayev, you'll recall, was previously fighting for the championship, loses it, and then the guy who he loses to retires, so he's kind of just back here. But nevertheless, had a long run of
absolutely hysterically funny, by the way. Just like, hey, you lost, but I guess sure, man, why not?
Kara Magomedov just made the whole thing weird when he was like, this is my best win. See ya, All right. Here's the problem. Musayev has to pull out with a medical ailment, I think related to weight cutting, but I'm not entirely sure. But they did say it was a medical issue, so he's out. In his place is a guy by the name of Ernesto Rodriguez, who has fought for the PFL previously and, in fact, won. What does this kind of thing do where they're losing an important main event for PFL? I mean, how important it was for DC, obviously, is a very different question, but like for their purposes, that was an important fight to make. And then on top of it, what do you make of this replacement? Like, how do you judge all that, what has happened here?
I mean, this is the story of PFL, right? Like they're doing good things. Like they are objectively making smart decisions. Not every decision is winner, but like they have moved this promotion this year, has taken viable steps towards like just being better at it, like doing the job better. And then something happens. They're snake bit. They can't get traction, whatever it may be. The main event was awesome. Like the Musayev Thad Jean fight. It's not like it's Musayev, it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but it's a very, very, very good fight that is put together. And now you get this guy who was booked against somebody else on the card, stepping in on short notice. A nondescript fighter is sort of my view on Ernesto Rodriguez. I also, Luke, had no idea this happened. I was off yesterday, so I was not online at all yesterday until I last night opened up the doc or whatever, the outline of the show, and was like, oh shit, that's terrible, because it is terrible. Like the silver lining, in my opinion, is I think that Gene is just going to nuke this man. And so at least you get to go home with an exciting highlight reel finish for the guy you're behind, because realistically they want that Gene to be Musayev anyway. But like, it's tough scenes. This card went from like having some gyms headlined by a very strong main event to woof. Those are some fights on Saturday.
Yeah, there's the card. You can see it there. Another thing kind of killing him, and again, this is a thing that ESPN is just doing to him. You got an 8 p.m. start for the prelims and then a 10 p.m. start in the East for the main. Now, granted, just 4 fights. It's not like it's a 5 or 6 fight card that would go well into 1 in the morning. I don't think you're going to get something like that. But nevertheless, just a backbreaker for the organization at a time when I feel like they've been building some momentum, right? Or a little bit like, I mean, actually, that's debatable how you want to say that. But I would just say, in terms of the product they're putting out, it seems to me that it's cleaned up a lot. It's a lot more palatable to me. It's more interesting to me. Now, whether or not that is showing up at the box office or on television ratings, I think is a separate consideration, Jed, an important one, but not the one I'm exactly making. But I don't know. I feel like they've been doing good things, and those things have been mattering in certain ways. This just kind of kills. It's just far from ideal, you know?
Yeah, I don't know what else is like counter programming, like why ESPN couldn't do this for an 8 p.m. main event. Like what's happening Saturday that's in the way of that? Yeah, like they're getting really unlucky is maybe not the right word, but like go to the Tapology and look at the fights that were planned on this card, like the canceled bout. Like there are as many as are on the card. Like they tried to do something pretty decent here. And
can I go through some of these?
Yeah, go.
So first of all, as you
some of these are good.
Yeah. The main event, Thad Jean taking on Shamil Musayev, a banger, just a banger. Shoeface, who, by the way, won 2 times in the championship against Luke Traynor. Magomed Umalatov taking on Ernesto Rodriguez. That's the guy who's obviously jumping up. Bryce Meredith, the wrestler. Now, he's still on the card, but it was supposed to be on against Jack Cartwright. Valentin Moldavsky taking on Bruno Capeloza, which is, not a great heavyweight fight, but
pretty fun one.
Could get finished. Mando Gutierrez taking on Nkosi and Debele. Please forgive me my pronunciation. Denis Goltsov at heavyweight was supposed to fight Hassan Meziev. And then again, Ernesto Rodriguez. So this is his 3rd opponent. Was supposed to take on Aaron McKenzie. Just a lot of different moving pieces there the whole way through. An unfortunate turn of events. All right, so let's talk about the fight as such. Jed, how high are you on Thad Jean? I mean, Ernesto Rodriguez, if you look at his last fight in PFL, a ton of wrestling that went into it. When he took on the Japanese fighter Masayuki Kikuiri, but he kind of won it on positional control. That's going to be hard to do against Thad Jean, who just kind of answered the question about whether he could do that when he beat Logan Storley in his last contest. Feels like Jean could get tripped up by a guy who was probably going to have something of a different game plan in some ways than Musayev, but it also feels like Jean should have the answer to something like this as well.
Yeah, I think he's going to run through Rodriguez. I went and watched his PFL fight and tried to find some other stuff. He is a very generic fighter, like big, stout dude, wrestle boxer, that just does not seem to have any traction against that Jean. I mean, I guess Logan Storley didn't get annihilated, but he did not win that fight. So I really like that Jean's prospect. He has the physical acumen for this sport, like very, very clearly. He has developed a style that looks to be quite problematic for a lot of dudes. I'd love to see him against like a really, really dangerous striker, right? Like put him in with the Carlos Prates and sort of see how that ends up shaking out. I'd be fascinated by that. But for sort of the guys he has to work through at this stage of the career and what the PFL can offer, I think he is going to rule this roost for a bit. They seem behind him, and I think there's a good reason to be behind him as one of the like pillars that they're going to build around moving forward. And so, like I said, main event, it's a shame we lost a much better fight, but I think you will still get, I think you'll get a highlight reel finish, especially because Rodriguez doesn't have like the best gas tank either. So, like he's coming from planning for a 3-round fight to this is still a title fight, right?
Yeah, still for the vacant title, 5 rounds.
So yeah, like if this makes it into the championship rounds, I mean, he gassed super hard against that dude whose name I won't say because I can't do it. Yeah, you nailed it. I can't do it.
Sort of.
He gassed like pretty hard there. I think that Gene will eat him up if it goes that way, but I don't even know if it goes that far.
205 is getting a run on this main card as well with 2 different bouts. Tyson Pedro, former UFC veteran, taking on Rafael, they pronounce it Xavier, who is Brazilian but represents Germany officially. 2 guys who kind of just open-ended strikers. I don't know. This one feels to me like whoever just makes the first mistake is probably going to lose. The more interesting one to me by a million miles is Sullivan Cauley, former D1 wrestler for Arizona State, taking on Rasul Magomedov, who arguably has a claim. I mean, I don't know if I go so far as to say best light heavyweight in the world, but one of the best guys on the PFL roster, undefeated, an absolute hammer if ever there was one. That fight to me seems fucking great, Jed.
Yeah, the co-main event is whatever, right? Like that's probably going to be a sort of a banger. They'll rock them, sock them, and someone will go, but that's whatever. Kali Magomedov, Kali looked really, really pretty good against like Phil Davis, right? Now Magomedov, I think they've said this in the PFL broadcast, like he one time upset Kyle Snyder, and it's like, oh yeah, he looks to be genuinely like possibly the future of this weight class. But Kali's the right sort of test for him, in my opinion. It's like, yeah, here's a guy who's a little bit more well-rounded than you, has proven to be capable of defending takedowns very well, not going to give you the run of play like completely at will. So they're going to make him work. But yeah, Magomedov looks like, is he a bright spot? He's not like the most exciting dude, but he's just so good. But like 205 needs every good fighter they can get right now. So yeah, this is probably the best fight on the card, frankly.
Yeah, I would argue it. I mean, to your point, I would argue that that is very clearly the best fight on this card. I wouldn't have been had the main event stayed intact.
It's not the 0-0 versus 1-0 prelim fighter. That's not the best fight on this card.
Jacob Pais taking on Noah Hermosillo. No,
we've got two debuting fighters on a not a straight up PFL card. Shout out.
So one thing I actually met with a bunch of PFL people yesterday because Dan Hardy had me on his podcast that they produce, I guess. And I spoke to some folks there, and one of the things that we were talking about with their cards are like, because PFL Europe and like other places is not a thing anymore, they're just pulling all that talent and then firing them into these cards. That's how Rafael Xavier got on this card, as well as some other ones. So Chris Mixon, by the way, takes on fix my notes here. Chris Mixon takes on Eliezer Kubanza. Eliezer Kubanza is kind of an interesting fighter coming from the PFL Africa circuit. He didn't win on the Contender Series, Jed, but he lost to a guy whose fight I called, Christopher Alvidrez. Alvidrez, dude, I saw this guy fight for XFC when I was calling one of their fights, and I was like, this fucking guy, he is different. And he was an underdog against Kubanza, and I was like, nope, he's going to win. Sure enough, he did. You can check the record on that. I mean, I get a bunch of predictions wrong, but I didn't get that one wrong. And here he is on the PFL, and people are just kind of like sleeping on him completely. I'm like, dude, the fact that he lost to Alvidrez on the Contender Series is not a black mark to me at all on his resume. Like, this dude, there might be other reasons you might want to say that, but like that to me is not in any way disqualifying. I kind of love this fight. It's just nobody really knows who the guys are.
Yeah, I actually like Kubanza. I've did a little bit of research into him when he did the Contender Series fight. And like, Brave is a good organization, right? Like, if you're getting wins in Brave. So we'll see. Like, I just sort of, how old is he? Look at this up.
Kubanza?
Yeah.
He is,
28.
according to my notes, 28.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, there are some, that's the thing. There are some reasons if you're the kind of person who's watching this show, we love you. Thank you for watching. There are reasons to be interested in some of these PFL fights. I don't think there's a reason for the PFL, ostensibly the second biggest MMA promotion in the world, or at least they certainly are trying to be that, to have 0-0 fighters fighting in the prelims of their card. That just should not be a thing. And you've got a couple of those happening. So that's my issue with this card broadly.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Long Island. There are a couple. I mean, there's at least one good fight on this prelim card. The Michael, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, sir, but he's taking on Bryce Meredith. Bryce Meredith wrestled at the University of Wyoming. It's Division I, although he does have a loss on his record. Anything for you that matters here? Any betting that you could point to as important?
Tyson Pedro as a dog, man. I got to support if I'm not going to support Steve Erceg, I got to support Tyson Pedro, and he's plus 114 right now. You guys mentioned that's probably going to be a barn burner. That guy, how did you say his name, Luke?
They pronounced it Xavier.
Xavier, he's got 9 losses. I didn't look, but I'm sure he's been finished in a few of them. Truth be told, I didn't look into this card much at all, but I'm just blindly backing Tyson Pedro. Let's go.
I mean, that's just the wisest betting you can do.
That is the PFL's card in DC, 10 p.m. East Coast time start for the main card. All right, let's talk a little bit of boxing. Topic number 4. So there's a bunch of fights that are kind of happening all this weekend, and many of them are not that important. But let's start with the one that I think is also not critical per se for any of the respective divisions, but the one that's most interesting to me by far. Errol Spence is back. Errol Spence has not competed since losing to Bud Crawford in July of 2023. It has been 3 years since we have seen him. Look at the bottom there of the graphic, or close to the bottom, where it says days since last fight. It was 111 for Tim Tzsyu. It's been 1,000, I think it says 92 here, I'm reading on my screen, since Errol Spence has competed. Now, the ultimate upside of Spence is significantly higher. However, 31 for the Aussie, and Tzsyu 36 for a guy like Spence. I mean, where do you even start with something like this, Jed? On the one hand, you can see the face-off here. And by the way, they've had something of an ugly build to this one, mostly by Errol Spence. I mean, let's just set this up for a second. Spence, as we just indicated, has been off and it took a horrible beating. That's to say nothing of all the other damage he took in his career, and then the damage he may have done partying, which was a big kind of like belief that he had shortened his career to an extent by doing that. He changed trainers because, remember, he ended up suing his last trainer. So he's with Ronnie Shields, who is a good one. There's the car accident as well that he had. And he still managed to do a lot of winning. Then he runs into Bud Crawford and gets absolutely cut to fish bait by him. And one of the most, in my opinion, for me personally, of any fight I've ever seen live, that's the best performance by a single fighter I've ever seen in terms of Bud Crawford. But as I mentioned, much higher upside than Tim Tzsyu, who has the name from his father, but has not lived up to the billing, has beaten a couple of good or decent club level guys recently. But when he keeps stepping up, it keeps showing up as problems. They're in Australia. There's all these other factors. Dude, how can anyone feel confident about any kind of pick in a scenario like this?
You can't. I knew it had been a long time for Spence, right? Like, I was like, yeah, it's been like 3 years or whatever, but I didn't realize until like, it's a factor of like 900 integers longer that he's been out since Tim Tzsyu. So that's a long time. I don't know what to make of him at this, like, outside of the super long layoff, he's also old and coming off. You phrased it quite well, getting cut to fish bait. Like, he got just one of the most comprehensive ass beatings you'll ever see against Terence Crawford. And so, like, already at the end of his run anyway, coming off a loss that can be career altering. Like, if you take that big an ass whooping, that can just sort of be the end of your confidence, and confidence such a huge part of combat sports. So at his peak, like, he seems, I honest straight up did not know who Tim Tzsyu was before the last like week. And then I did a little bit more research, watched some footage. Okay, fighter, like, solid, not amazing or whatever, has a way of building into fights and can hit pretty hard. And so that makes him kind of dangerous against a guy who I just have no concept for what he can offer right now. Like, this is a really intriguing fight. If you care about boxing, is sort of where I landed, which is why, because like heading into this week, I did not think twice about this. And then I started looking, it was like, oh, there are a lot of storylines about how this happens, like what we end up seeing the product this weekend.
The other part too is, which no one's discussing, they originally wanted this fight to be at 158 and they agreed at 158. And then I think like just relatively recently, Spence comes back and is like, no, I can't make 58. It's got to be 60. Understand, the fight against Crawford was 47. He's fought like early in his career in like a 50 for like a catchweight fight. But we're talking like very early in his career for the most part. I think the only aberrant one where, you know how it is on boxing on the come up, where you're fighting 6-rounders, Jed, and they're like, oh yeah, I know you're at 147. Will you fight at 49 for this one? You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. The Chris Van Eerden one, which was a real boxing fight, that one I think was at 50. but here he is fighting at 60 because he couldn't make 58.
That doesn't breed confidence.
No, that makes me feel
confidence.
And the thing is, too, if you follow Spence's career, like, dude, he always was like super chiseled out of stone. You know what I mean? Like, the cut was tough, but he made it and then looked good. And then obviously up until the Crawford fight performed for the most part very ably. There's just a million, like, what would it even mean, honestly, if okay, so let's talk this through. If Tszyu loses, that's got to be it for him, right? Like, not maybe necessarily as a career, but like, oh, this is a headliner that we care about. It's curtains for him if he loses, correct?
Correct, 100%.
Okay. If Spence wins, like, what? And I'm asking you to speculate. Like, we're not basing this on because we've had conversations with him. Why is he fighting? Like, why the fuck is he doing this?
Wildly speculative. Outside of the broader reason that applies to all fighters writ large of they do not know how to retire, I would suspect that for him personally, especially given the things he's gone through the past, 3 years or whatever, that I understand if he is just like, I don't want my last fight to be that. Like, I maybe not even go like I would go out on a win, but like, I don't want the defining, and it still will be large part of his career, the defining performance, but like, I don't want that to be the end of the road for me, because like that would suck. Like, I get that. But so maybe this is, more about, no, we're not to the Ben Askren level of like, what, like, I'm doing this to prove a point level of like, that's why I'm coming back to wrestle. But like, been off this long, this means something to me outside of trying to make a real championship run or whatever.
I think that's probably the best guess, which is that, like, I mean, because if you don't fight for 3 years, it's because you can't or you won't, right? And either one of those don't fill you with confidence. But I guess we'll see. Again, for a guy like Spence, who's achieved so much already, a loss here would obviously be bad. I mean, that's not a good thing, but it doesn't really define him in any kind of way. For Tim Tzsyu, man, it's do or die. This is it. You got to show up, or like, why are we even wasting our time with this at all? We shall see. Also, look at the stance here, open stance, which to me is the one that favors Spence the most. I thought that when Bud went southpaw with him, that was a terrible matchup for him, and it showed.
I'm trying to pull up the odds on this right now.
By the way, I'm going to send this to you, Long Island. I've got the video now from, I think, someone's phone of the Tyson Fury Marius walk fight.
Oh God.
And boy, Tyson Fury looks real fucking bad.
That
Holy
doesn't
shit.
totally shock me.
Wait, so you got, so it's already happened. It's already taken place. I know it wasn't going to air, but it already happened. Is that what you're saying?
I just sent it to you. Sent it to you. Take a look and see if we can use that. I don't know if we can, but just sort of take a look at that. All right. So we'll see what happens there. Care to hazard a guess about how that one goes?
I am so shook by everything around Errol Spence that I think Tszyu might stop him late. Like, I could entirely be wrong, but like all we have to go off of are like some Instagram posts for Spence over the last 3 years. And this means so much to Tszyu. He can hit hard. He kind of keeps coming forward. Like, he is a pressure guy in that way. Open stance, maybe Spence just dances around, boxes, uses his jab a lot. If he does, like, if Spence has the jab going, he's going to win. I'm just never going to pick a dude coming off a 3-year layoff. It's just not, it doesn't seem like a productive way to go. So yeah, I'll go Tszyu, but I couldn't find the odds on this. Long Island, do you have them?
Oh, I'm seeing a few places with him. Yeah. Tim's a slight dog, like plus 120-ish, and Spence is like minus 145-ish.
That sounds right to me.
I'm taking a Tim Tzsyu as a dog. I'm just like the Tyson Pedro thing. You just got to blindly support the Aussies. You go for it. Let's
just go. So many Aussies competing this weekend for you.
Really is.
I know. I didn't realize. I should have done a whole parlay.
I'm agreeing with you, Jed, in the sense of, like, just on a basic level, Tszyu has been active, and in the time since Spence has not competed, Zeus fought like 7 or 8 times. Like,
do you
just on that
think
alone.
Errol Spence is going to come out and throw a jumping switch kick to start this fight, or is that?
Dude, I remember when
Do you think he's been training that for months with John Kavanaugh?
Dude, it's like, brother, the show is over. You know, I don't know what to tell you, motherfucker. Where were you when you were watching that fight?
I was in Birmingham, Alabama. I had many beverages, and I was on a couch with a bunch of dudes. It was our golf trip, and they were all watching the Switzerland game was still going on, or whatever whoever that was, Switzerland, whoever they're playing, I don't remember. And I just had it on my phone, and I just was sitting there laughing hysterically. Like, what's so funny? So they kept being like, "Is Connor out? Like, is Connor fighting?" It's like, it's happening soon. What's so funny? I think he blew his knee out. He just threw this stupid jumping kick and he fell down. And I think his knee's dead.
Yeah. And he's putting out videos today of like doing leg extensions. And I'm like, the show's over. It's over.
This circus is going to go on forever. Also, I want to be super clear. If Errol Spence comes out and throws a jumping switch kick, I will devote the rest of my life to him.
Yeah.
He'll be DQ'd, but it'll be funny.
Then it's a different story. All right. I don't even know what to say about this. Let's start with this one. Tyson Fury is facing Marius Walk. Dude, look at how fucking bad both of these guys look. Look at this shit. Fury just looks like absolute ass.
God.
Both of them look so bad.
Dude,
this
Walk's
looks like
50.
Yeah.
How old is he actually? I need to.
And Walk is already, by the way, it should be noted, Walk is like mega washed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's been mega washed forever.
Yeah.
He's 46. Walk is, and watching that video, like Tyson Fury has his sort of style. So if you know, you can tell. But like you can't, if you are completely new to boxing and just the name Tyson Fury and nothing else, you couldn't discernibly tell the difference between those two old men in there. Like that was oof. I know we're going to talk about the AJ fight. Like that when AJ, like they're both booking, they're fighting each other. That's the whole plan. And they both booked tune-ups. But like I remember when it got announced, like, okay, the AJ fight is a tune-up how we traditionally think of that. Like on paper, Pranga is real. You know, he hasn't beaten anybody. He's like slightly better than the club level boxer, if we're being honest. But like this is a guy who's existed in boxing forever as somebody sees that there is a potential to make money with him as a sacrificial lamb to a bigger fighter later down the line. That's sort of like a good, competent boxer, not an amazing boxer. That's a tune-up fight. Walk is 46 and has like a 500 record in the last like 10 years or whatever. He is super washed. And for Fury to be like, that's the dude I'm tuning up against is out. Like it was outrageous, all like offhand. And now watching was like, oh God, this is Tyson Fury might really not have it at all anymore. That is tough.
Anthony Joshua faces Albania's Christian Pregna. Or Prenga, excuse me. And I looked into him. He's got an impressive record of 20-1, but he's mostly a club level fighter.
Yeah.
You know, he is as big as AJ or seemingly as big. And obviously he is, a similar age as well, but like has none of the competitive experience against anyone halfway good. Like if you actually watch Prenga's, he has a YouTube channel. If you actually watch some of his like videos he posts of his wins, like some of them they look pretty good. Like there's some, not all of them, but most of them are, there's a good slate of like pleasing wins, but it's like, we're not even remotely on the level of AJ. None of that is a scandal. So let me just ask the question this way. What expectations are we supposed to have for either of these guys in scenarios like these?
Well, for Fury, my expectation was that he would look really good, like because he's being set up to. It's Tyson Fury, so like looking good is a relative term. His style is weird in general, but like if you're facing that level of opposition, you're supposed to do really dummy on them and build interest in the AJ fight, because that's like the point of this is twofold. It is to get some rounds in because I was off for a while. I had one fight, but the timeline's going to work. Let me just take an easy fight to a glorified sparring session I get paid some money for. But like you want to really promote as well. Like, here, look what I just did to this dude. That's what I'm going to do to Anthony Joshua or whatever. That does not appear to be the case. Granted, that's a small clip. Maybe more of the fight shows better. I don't know. I guess we can find out. For AJ, he is supposed to send this man to the land of wind and ghosts. And I hope he does that, right? Like, he's going to do the job better than Fury is, apparently. But like, that is the expectation for both men, is get a couple of rounds in and then defenestrate their opponents to set up the fight that's been building for a decade.
I guess we shall see in the end about how this goes. Long Island, is there any way to bet these in any kind of interesting way?
I'm going to assume Anthony Joshua is a huge favorite, and the Tyson Fury fight already took place. So I think your best bet wise would be Tim Tzsyu as a dog. But you rarely see boxing odds that close where it's like plus 100, minus 100. Like, I think that's your sign right there to just hop on the dog. So I'm riding with Tim Tzsyu.
And last but not least,
an upset would it be if Anthony Joshua lost? I mean, like odds wise, not however we feel about it. Oh, I can't even find odds on this.
I'd be curious to find out.
He's got to be like a monster favorite.
I'm guessing in the 2,000 range.
Minus 3,300.
Yeah,
was one place I see. So yeah,
I mean, just
it'd be
no
enormous
margin for error. Yeah,
Pranga, just throw the best punch of your career, buddy.
Just wing it.
It'd be so funny. It would be so funny if Anthony Joshua got knocked out.
I want to point out one more thing. I talked to BC about this last night. I texted BC because
this week.
Zuffa Boxing. Say again.
He texted me this week. Shout out BC.
Oh yeah, shouts to the great BC. I texted him last night about this Edgar Berlanga fight because I've been an Edgar Berlanga hater because he's not good, and you can see the card here. So they're actually going to New York for this one. And the co-main event is also pretty interesting. Richardson Hitchens and Ricardo Salas, and then Jaleel Hackett taking on Derevyanchenko. Derevyanchenko is mega washed at this point, but it's a good opportunity for Hackett, I suppose. But all right, just sticking to the main event there with Berlanga and Butler. I asked BC, BC, how much of a shot does Butler actually have against Berlanga? And I asked him, I was like, BC, I want you to answer that question, like knowing why I'm asking it, because I'm asking it like I don't have high confidence in Berlanga at all. Where are we in this one? And BC's answer to me was Berlanga, he didn't call Berlanga any names or anything, but he was like, the doubts about Berlanga are well placed and well understood, and they're fair and they're reasonable and they all count. But he was saying that even with all of that, he should not lose to a guy like Butler. He should get it done. I think the part that's more interesting for me on this one, Berlanga sitting at minus 370, Butler at plus 275. The thing that's more interesting to me is Zuffa Boxing's going on the road to New York, and if you actually look at the ticket sales for this one, they're pretty poor. I'm a little surprised by Zuffa Boxing's effort on this one. A, in signing Berlanga at all. B, bringing him to New York. Okay, that makes sense, but then seemingly not doing a very good job or Berlanga himself also not doing a very good job of generating interest in this one. What do you make of how these kinds of things have unfolded ahead of Berlanga's big Zuffa Boxing debut?
I'm not surprised, because does Zuffa know how to promote things anymore? They don't have to. They just say, hey, UFC is here. I mean, Zuffa, UFC, whatever, interchangeable. It's like, for a guy like Edgar Berlanga, who like I know I've seen a couple of fights, but like I think I'm a casual boxing fan. I do not follow every fight, but like follow the big names, watch probably 20 fights a year, right? Like 20 fight boxing cards a year, maybe more, just because I work in the industry as well. But like that's, if Edgar Berlanga was coming here, like you would need to really hit me over the head with it to be like, oh, I should go attend that. And so I know New York, it's a little bit different, but still, like, I don't know his history of drawing. Like, is he a guy who will naturally sell out an arena? Because it feels like you're going to have to get behind him. Especially, I didn't know who Stephen Butler was at all until I did my homework for this. And it's like, who's interested in this outside of super hardcore boxing fans? You're going to need to promote it. And I have been underwhelmed, to say the least, by all of the Zuffa Boxing promotion, right? Like, I don't feel like they get behind, and maybe they're just picking their spots with like, hey, we're putting real money into real big guys like Conor Benn, et cetera. We'll get behind that. These are the ones, we put our fight cards out, you watch or you don't. But I have just broadly been very underwhelmed when Dana was like, I'm going to come in and fix boxing. The production hasn't been that interesting for me. And it does not feel like they are making this a big deal. Probably not their business plan in general, but yeah, that's sort of, I'm not surprised at all on how this is unfolding.
It's at the theater at MSG, which is fine. It wouldn't need to be at the full one anyway. I don't think there's an issue with that one. Long Island thinks Richardson Hitchens is maybe the real draw on this one, 20-0. His nickname is Africa, but he's American. Coming off that win where he stopped George Kambosos in round 8 and Liam Paro before that. So he actually is a very, very interesting fighter, and I recognize as much from Brooklyn as well. But I'm just saying Berlanga is the headliner, and was the guy that's the guy that's going to really move tickets. And there hasn't, not a lot of movement has happened, I guess is the way that I would put that. I can't quite get a beat on what Zuffa Boxing is doing other than just trying to ship product. That part is pretty clear. Beyond that, I don't know.
It feels like that is the plan is ship product and continue to acquire assets. Like they're just going to keep trying to buy as much. Eventually you buy enough of the market, then you're there. But in the meantime, they are, and maybe some of this is they're working out the kinks, right? They haven't been boxing promoters. They're trying to figure out where their strengths, where their weaknesses are on like just this sort of avenue. But this is a secondary to their primary energy is focused at trying to acquire as many big name boxers as they can get.
All right. And with that in mind, let's go to topic number 5. Just a couple of boxing stories. I don't know how much we're going to dig into them, but we'll just talk about them very quickly. The first one that I thought was kind of interesting is about Devin Haney. So they haven't announced it yet, but it's been reported by several places, including but not limited to Dan Raphael, who's reported that Devin Haney has signed or is about to sign or has signed a multi-fight contract with DAZN. Now, you'll recall DAZN, the broadcaster, has access to Golden Boy, now PBC, and to Matchroom and Queensberry and a lot of different places. And the way that Devin Haney here, you can see this tweet, it's the first fight of his new deal. It's going to, by the way, part of it means he's going to pick up the mandatory against Keyshawn Davis, which is a hotly anticipated contest for the WBO World Welterweight title. What do you make of Haney signing with a broadcaster that gives him now opportunity to go to a variety of different promoters just on that platform?
I mean, that's sort of the theory of boxing, right? It's like you don't want to sign exclusively with, because I mean, why would you sign with Zuffa? Like you have to be getting paid an exorbitant amount of money or paid more money than you think, because Zuffa has, and they've walked this back a little bit, but they've been pretty, like, their goal is not to work with other promoters. That is certainly not their long-term goal. Their short-term goals maybe, but like you are going to limit yourself a little more. And if you don't sign with them, maybe you can still do, like, I don't know if Ryan Garcia with Zuffa, that's sort of like, I'm not entirely sure how that's set yet. It seems like he's trending that way. You do the Haney Garcia too is obviously an enormous fight, but that could still happen even if you don't sign with Zuffa, whereas you preserve flexibility by not signing with a promotion who actively doesn't want to work with others. They might, but they don't want to. And so I assume he also got a good deal with them and that the money is talked here. But yeah, if I were a boxer, I don't know why I would sign with them unless they are just going to pay me so much money that it would be fiscally irresponsible not to do so.
I'll say this, the value of this deal will be adjudicated by what kind of fights get produced, what gets made. And I know Shakur Stevenson just signed with Zuffa Boxing, so what can you really say about that? That was the one everyone wanted. For my money, Haney versus Davis is electricity. I would love to see that fight. And I don't know what multi-fight means. 2, 4, I don't know exactly. Probably no more than 3, I would suspect.
It's
2 or
3 is my guess.
Yeah, it might just be 2. Nevertheless, the genius of this deal, such as there is one, will just be how they matchmake them. And I really am very curious to see how that goes. Last but not least, Jai Opataya sues the IBF claiming a conspiracy and they stripped him for it because, well, there's a lot going on here, but the basic idea is that IBF would only sanction his fight if it was for the IBF title and not a unification. And then there is this, he gets, he pays for the sanctioning fees, and then they announced the fight, and it's really for the Zuffa fight, and the IBF one was sort of almost like considered like a secondary title in the whole thing. So they gave him back his money, and then they didn't sanction it, and then they stripped him of it. As a lawyer, Jed, such that we can call you one, what merit, if any, is there to this lawsuit?
It seems mostly frivolous, but that is, I want to qualify this sharply with, I haven't been an attorney in a long time, and I also have never really dug into the contractual situations for the various belt holders and like sanctioning bodies. This, I mean, on a very basic level, this feels like Ajayi Opetaia has played a dumb game, won a dumb prize, and is mad about it. Like, you knew this was going to happen, and now you're just upset about it. And I would in general assume that this is fine for the sanctioning bodies to do. Like, they are the sanctioning bodies. They have remedied, like, he gave them money, but they just gave it back to him. So he's not out any money, and it's their titles to sort of do as they wish with. The one thing, I couldn't find the actual complaint to read, but per the reporting on the complaint, and per the graphic, he's alleging conspiracy. He apparently is also alleging that upon discovery, like, there are like text or WhatsApp, or there's a track record of written communication between various parties that would prove conspiracy. That would get a little more interesting. Like, if he can unearth like Eddie Hearn and the various sanctioning bodies on a group thread being like, F Ajayi Opetaia and Zuffa, we're not going to let them do this. Then it becomes a question of, are you acting in bad faith? And maybe there is some proof to that, but like, that will be litigated entirely in like what can be proved, because on its face, what appears to have happened to me seems fine. They have sanctioned him to do a fight. He gave them money. They said, never mind, we don't want to do that. Here's your money back, and we'll take our belt. And that feels like that's within their power. But again, I have not read the charters on how these things work. Maybe they've overstepped. Feels like they didn't.
Wouldn't surprise me if fighters were just doing shit without really considering.
That's the thing. It wouldn't surprise me either way. Like, it is entirely possible. Like, it is the Occam's razor here is difficult because both are very likely. Is it likely that a fighter is semi-frivolously suing somebody because something happened that he didn't like? Yes. Go see any appeal to any MMA fight ever. Also, is it very likely that sanctioning bodies and the sort of semi-mysterious boxing underworld has collaborated to shit on a guy that they don't like? All really super possible too. So like, there are no heroes here. There just is what it is. And whether a law has been broken at a very basic sense, I think not, but I'm open to being incorrect on that.
And that's our top 5 right there for this Friday, July 24th. With that in mind, it is now time to turn our attention to the frivolity of this program. It's time for Rank That Card.
Rank that card! It sucks.
Everybody's favorite game, everybody's favorite card. LT, you're up first. Which undefeated fighter is most likely to lose on Saturday? Your favorite fighter, probably Magomed Tukulov. I know you know a lot about him. Errol Aliev, I butchered that, or Magomed Zainikov.
Is most likely to lose. I'll say Tukulov, then Aliev, only because his fight is harder.
It is a tough
and
fight.
Then so in order here, basically.
All right, Jed, you changing that at all?
I'll go Aliev because his fight is is magnitudes of more difficult, integers more difficult than thing. Tukulov, Brinson Ribeiro is like the dude they bring in to get annihilated by undefeated prospects. That's a very tough gig that he has, but like Tukulov has 6 fights. It would never stun me if somebody with that few fights loses. So I'll go Aliev, then I'll go Tukalov, and then I'll go Zunikov.
So yeah, I feel like Zainakov actually has a tough matchup, and we're all going to be like, "Oh shit, this guy." I don't know. I picked him, so I'm rooting for him. But I think we might be surprised. I think you might be surprised. Jed, which underdog has the best chance of winning? Tyrell Fortune, Bogdan Guskov, or Ishmael Bonfim?
To what extent do I believe in Tyrell Fortune is really the question that's on offer here. I'll say Ishmael Bonfim as the most likely, just because Axel Sola I think is good, but Bonfim's dangerous. That's a competitive fight. I'll go Bogdan Guskov next because maybe he can catch Ankalaev early. I'll go Fortune last because if Fortune can't tackle you, I don't think you're going to win. And tackling Kuniev is quite difficult. So that's my order.
LT, what's your order?
I'm going to go in order here.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to go Fortune, Guskov, Bonfim.
You don't like Kuniev?
I don't. No.
See, I feel like Fortune has the least chance of winning of these three. I mean, odds will tell you that Guskov does, but I feel like Rizvan's it's gonna be a boring decision, but Rizvan's gonna beat Tyrell Fortune, I think.
I can't really argue with that, but I just feel like Fortune has. I'm not a believer in Kuniev's ability to close the show at all. Really.
All right, that's fair.
That's reasonable.
LT, which fighter is going to have more UFC fights after Saturday? Bredson Ribeiro, Wellington Turman, or Santiago Ponzinibbio?
That's a good one.
Jesus.
I will say Wellington Turman's surprisingly young. He's like 30.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and he's also up on that main. I'm gonna go Turman 1.
He also has not won a fight in 4 years and has not fought in 2.5 years.
Nevertheless, I mean, dude, look at the names you're giving me. I mean,
yeah, but I'd argue that Ponzinibbio has enough name value to even, despite his age, stick around for a couple more fights.
Yeah, but dude, if he gets flatlined here, I mean, how many has he really got left?
I don't know.
I'll go Turman, Ponzinibbio, Ribeiro, I guess. I'm not really sure.
Jed?
Ponzinibbio name value. He won't retire, and they'll keep trotting him out there. So Ponzinibbio, I got to imagine, even though Ribeiro fills like a very necessary role for the UFC of like, here, get sparked out by this prospect. At some point, he's like 2-5 in the promotion or something insane. Like the rubber meets the road. So I'll go Ponzinibbio, Turman, Ribeiro.
I think I agree with that. Jed, which fighter are you most likely to quote unquote adopt into the Tzsyu family one day? We know you got DDP, we know you got RDR, Yuri. So Bogdan Guskov, Walter Walker, or Chanko, John Port?
Easy answer. Bogdan Guskov is clear favorite to join the Tzsyu Foster family.
You'd like Walter.
Walter is not the right kind of silly. He is fun, but he's not the right kind of silly. Like John Silva. Like John Silva should be in the Tzsyu Foster family, but he's too much. He does too much. Do less. But I'll go in order because Guskov is fun as hell to watch and absolutely a donk fighter. Walter Walker, and then I do not understand why Chanko is a thing, but that's not for me. Not all things are fault. Chanko, I'm not in on this groundswell.
All right. LT, I'm not going to bother asking you that one since it's really personal to Jed. But LT, which fighter's stock is going to drop the most with a loss on Saturday? Walter Walker, Islam Dulatov, or Magomed Ankalaev?
I mean, Ankalaev is the answer, right? Because even though he's lost a bunch, he's in the main event spot, and he's not supposed to lose to a guy like this. That would be real bad. Then I'll say Walker after that because he's kind of built himself up a little bit, and then Dulatov third, although I can see some movement for this one.
Jed, you changing that?
I'll go Dulatov first.
Oh, wow.
Because I think, he's just supposed to beat Wellington Turman. I'll go Walker second because he's also like the story. If all three of these upsets happen, the story in Dulatov and Walker will be like, wow, they shat the bed. And if Bogdan Guskov sparks out Ankalaev, the story will be like, wow, Bogdan Guskov's a title challenger. Like so he will lose less because people will just think more about the other side of it than for the other two.
I agree with that. I feel like Magomed, even with a loss, is still like right there. He just needs another win or two to get right back in it. So,
light heavyweight has 3 good fighters.
Yeah.
So
Walter to me, 28-year-old, 4 straight fucking heel hooks, and he's calling out Hokut, he's calling out Stevenson, and now you lose. That's like, dude, you weren't that guy, you know. All right, Jed, which fighter named Magomed is most likely to win a Performance of the Night bonus? Magomed Tukulov, Magomed Ankalaev, or Magomed Zainikov?
Tukulov, obviously, seems very set up for it. Then give me Chanko because. So why in this graphic?
I don't know why there's like an M in there.
M weird.
I wasn't gonna call anyone out for it, but you know,
that's strange. Then Chanko because he's popular, and then Ankalaev because even if he puts on a stunning performance, will the UFC give him one? I don't know. So Tukulov, Chanko, Ankalaev.
LT.
I'll slightly change it. I'll go Zainikov, Tukulov, Ankalaev. Ankalaev's last.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no way he's anything else other than last. The other two you can kind of play with.
I agree with that.
This is so depressing for him. Like all shows, he's probably going to win really good, one of, if not the best light heavyweight. And everything is just like, sucks to be him, man. Nobody cares.
Nothing to gain here. LT, who's the most entertaining fighter on the card? Islam Dulatov, Bogdan Guskov, or Walter Walker?
This is slightly a preference question.
Yeah, I had a lot of trouble picking. Like normally there's a clear top 3 entertaining guys. This was like Dulatov. I was kind of just like, yeah, he gets finishes, throw him on there.
I'll go for me personally. I'll go Guskov, Dulatov, Walker, because I don't find like heel hook and heavyweights all that interesting. I mean, it's kind of funny how many times he's done it, but it's like doesn't move me very much. So I'll go that one. But I realize that there could be a range of interpretations here.
Jed?
I'm same with Luke. Guskov is obviously the winner, and then Dulatov's been like kind of fun, but it's need to see more. Walter Walker he's heel hook and heavyweights. It is what it is.
I just feel like Walter, at least, and again, maybe it's not really my style, but like on Instagram and shit, he's got like a personality. He's doing jokes and so he's just
trying to do. He emceed that Brazilian grappling.
Yeah.
But that was like that's the thing. He's like a little cringy for my taste.
Yeah, I agree. But I could see why people would be into it. Jed, which debuting fighter is most likely to be ranked one day? Damian Rizbecki, Magomed Zainikov, or Abubakar Vagayev?
Ooh, we didn't even talk about the Vagayev fight, which was hilarious because that fight was originally supposed to be an ACA champ versus champ fight, which is funny as shit to me that they did that. Yeah, it was the middleweight ACA champ. What the hell's his name?
Is it Gakmaev or
I can't remember. Gasamaev. Gasamaev, that's right.
No.
Like they were booked and then that fight fell through and now we've got this. I'll go as Becky just because he's super young. And so more of an opportunity to grow and develop. I don't think any of these guys are likely to be ranked, but
you don't think Chanko has the ability to possibly be one of those guys out of that camp that they're gonna, moonshot and then within 3 fights he's gonna be ranked and
it could happen, but 155 is so difficult and
True.
He's old. Like he's gonna be
not old, he's 31.
He's old. For lightweight, that's a lifetime. It takes forever to build in this weight class. Like he's gonna be like Abubakar. Like he's just not. I don't see it. I just don't see that he's got the goods.
Abubakar Nurmagomedov, we're talking, not
Correct.
Vagayev, who is also
fair point. Honestly, yeah. I'll go with Becky. He's the youngest. Vagayev and then Chanko.
All right, LT.
I have no fucking idea.
You're going Chanko all day. Vagayev is good, but he's a decision machine. I could see the UFC hating him and never giving him a ranked opponent.
I'll go Zainikov.
He was supposed to lose to Usmayev.
And then Abubakar Vagayev last. I don't fucking know.
All right. Well, forget that one, LT. Which nickname are you choosing for Jed to adopt? Jed Maheta Tzsyu, Jed the Ripper Tzsyu, or Jed the Renegade Tzsyu?
Who's the Ripper?
Dulatov.
Dulatov. Oh, that's a terrible name.
Yeah.
I might go Renegade as like part of like an identity thing, maybe.
Not Maheta. I like the alliteration. Maheta.
I mean, the only
Tzsyu.
thing he's ripping are fucking vapes and
darts.
Bongs.
Yeah, darts.
Ripping darts.
Renegade.
Ripping cigs.
All right, Renegade. Jed, which one are you choosing for yourself?
I mean, I would choose Maheta because it's alliterative, but I'm also deeply not any level of Portuguese or Brazilian, so it feels like I shouldn't choose that.
It feels like if you're Maheta, you have to have a hammer of the month.
I'm not
going to
get a hammer tattooed on my chest.
No, but I'm
either.
saying for Ishmael, like you got to get the hammer, bro. What are you doing? Like,
I mean, somewhere you should have a hammer somewhere on you, but probably Renegade. I just hate Ripper, so Maheta Ripper. I think Ripper's a terrible nickname.
See, Ripper would be good for me because of the bongs and stuff. You know, you got there. All right, Jed, which nickname are you choosing for LT to adopt? Luke Astro Boy Thomas, Luke Beast Boy Thomas, or Luke the Train Thomas?
I mean, you have to go Luke the Train, right? Yeah. Like, given his semi-weekly issues with said level of transportation, you gotta go.
Oh, you're
Luke
going that
Train.
reason. I was going Osborne. That's why I did the BC sound, right? You know, like
no, going Luke the Train Thomas because it's one thing this man loves. It's the public transit system that gets him to New York City. He just Luke. You don't. I hope you're not offended. You don't strike me as an Astro Boy. So
I mean, I'm familiar with Astro Glide.
Yeah.
All right, easy there. I mean,
dicks.
I will just say
dicks.
that
dicks everywhere, dicks.
I just like the boy nicknames for Luke because he's a giant man and it's funny to call him a boy, you know.
I mean, I think Beast Boy is not bad, but I have to go with Train because there's too much already built there. So Train, Beast Boy, Astro Boy.
LT, which one you choosing?
Definitely got to be Train.
Right,
you know, I'm just sort of stuck with it at this point. You know what I mean?
Well, that was Rank That Card. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
All right, very good. And now it is time for you guys to show us your artwork. We put it on our proverbial fridge. It's called fan subs.
You've got mail.
Viewers.
All right, we got 2 memes from Eric. Lawn.
That's pretty good.
Dude, the lawnmower memes have been, every one of them has been at worst A-. You know what I mean? Like,
he's on the SS live chat. LT.
That is fucking incredible.
That's a good one.
That's a home run. All right, next. Then McGregor fast. Oh, look at the logo. McGregor.
I mean,
last.
I will critique this. It should be McGregor slow instead of McGregor last. But solid.
Yes. Otherwise, pretty good. Well done, Eric. Well done. All right. We've got a bunch of these from Jesse, who says, I gave AI a prompt that said, make Long Island Luke look like a stoner, and it somehow captured the essence of BC.
That does look like BC with the drug rug, but I'd still stand.
Outfit BC would rock.
This looks way more like Brandon, again, who used to work at Malka, the cameraman. But also my finger is on the crickets button, which I think is funny. So
that is pretty good. All right, we got other ones. Let's see. Can you read that to me, please?
Yes, give me 1 second for.
You know what? I've been doing MK long enough where I get the right one. Or I get the right one time in a while to talk about toys.
That's right. Fuck y'all. I do. My co-host left the show. I'm going to talk about my toys. Fuck y'all. Morning Kombat talking about Fatima Glenn, the rest of women's MMA. I mean, we didn't do that in a lascivious way. That was just purely based on ability. So I reject this one.
If BC was here, you would have done it in a lascivious way.
You know, well, BC
Here we
also,
go, evil. Here we go.
He's a cretin. All right. Last but not least. The Killer Gorilla, Aaron Bronstetter. Look at the hair on his arm, on these arms.
This is so when I asked, you guys played Rank That Card last week, and Aaron chose the Killer Gorilla as his nickname, and then he held up his arm and he's like, look how hairy my arms are. So this one's actually pretty funny.
Deep cut. All right, pretty good so far. So far we got some good ones. All right, we got 2 from John McClain, who always has bangers. He writes, here's a picture of what Luke would rather do than have to watch Power Slap. Jed, do you get this one?
Is this the walrus that's around or whatever it is?
Yeah, this is this is when I always say I'd rather get fucked to death by an 8-dicked walrus.
Oh, I was thinking 'cause there's like been in the news like a walrus who just like roams around this fucking city. But okay, that makes more sense.
This is about me being dead after I got fucked to death by this 8-dicked walrus. All right, that's pretty good. He's got another one. Let's see it. BC interviewing fighters. BC interviewing strawweights. Well played.
That's a good one.
Well played. All right, these are pretty good so far.
One.
All right, from Jeremy, he says, this is Luke avoiding the inevitable at all cost. Says Bert Kreischer, and then there's an empty seat for me, and then it's Cake Lady. And then there I am.
There's the walrus.
Dude,
Am I getting banged by the walrus?
Yeah, so much so that what are those called? The teeth, the fangs,
tusks?
the tusks. Thank you. They're coming out of the front of you, like the walrus is deep.
I feel like the concept is good. I feel like the AI failed here a little.
Execution could be better, but yes.
Yeah, but not a bad idea. All right, Spencer says, Luke, you have a terrible poker face. LOL. What a wonderful moment on CNN. Oh, I know what they're talking about. When someone says MMA is we were talking about something on this panel. It was not MMA related, and the young woman next to me, who seemed very friendly, said some insane shit, and I was like, I didn't know what to do with my face. Luke, when Long Island Luke asks if he'll join a full card watch along for UFC Fight Night Belgrade, Serbia. Yep, that's fair. That's indeed fair. Point of view: it's Thursday at nearly 3 p.m. and Luke hears the sweet sound of a John Deere X300 crank.
This feels like this image can get a lot of play.
It's
from
very
the MK
memeable.
universe.
And then last but not least, BC is back in studio for a UFC 330 preview. Luke looks over during the Dern Robertson segment, and BC is beat red in the face with his hands down his pants. Yes, that would indeed elicit this kind of a reaction. That's pretty good.
There's a lot of play to that meme. I think you're going to get a lot of traction on that one in the coming months.
I think you're right. All right, from Jordan, who's got one, just says, when you look out the window to check out your freshly mowed lawn. You guys ever seen this? This dude punches the glass a bunch of times, and he kind of goes ape shit. All right,
that was
Jesse,
my favorite so far. That one got me.
See, that's the thing about the AI. It's like sometimes the AI ones can be really quite good, but honestly, shitty Photoshop is always really good. You know,
shitty Photoshop just works.
All right, Jesse says, I love Morning Kombat almost as much as Oscar loves hiding inside Dennis Shurkatov's Supply T1 enhanced roux pouch. What the fuck are they talking about?
I don't have a clue what's going on.
I'm pretty sure Zaply is like a supplement. So I think I have a feeling, I don't know this, that Dennis is maybe sponsored by Zaply, and that's the reference here. I have no idea.
This actually might be a good one. I have no idea what the fuck it means.
Nope.
All right.
Got nothing.
We'll move on. All right. Mike has 3 memes. Let's see. Luke wondering if Shrek is good in Spanish. I'm surprised this one has taken some life. I'm surprised this one. If you, Jose, very quickly, Jed, if you missed it, Danny was on the show.
No, I saw the Danny
Okay.
revealing that Shrek is like the only good movie in Spanish.
All right, very good. Shrek is good in Spanish. Like Shrek is good in Spanish. Anyways, UFC 329 is this weekend. Wait, Shrek is good in Spanish? They changed the meme up a little bit on that one, but that's a decent one. All right. There's Danny. Shrek is good in Spanish. Change my mind.
That's a great picture of Danny for this.
You see what I mean? Shitty Photoshop is just much better. It's way better. All right. Jonas has got a bunch of these. Let's see what old Jonas has to say. We're doing the scene from
So you're doing Ghost Predator?
Yeah, Ghost Predator. All right, not bad. Nobody puts Predator in a corner. I do love Predator. That is fair. Oh, I'm drawing the Yautja like they're my French girls. Is that it?
Yes.
Jed?
That is absolutely what's happening here.
All right.
That's a haunting image.
We'll always have the Central American jungle. Yes. Yes, me and the Predator. Brokeback Predator as well. That's an interesting one. And then Lady and the Tramp Predator. That's the best one of all of them.
Yeah, because you've been Disney-fied in that one too, which is true. Predator wasn't really Disney-fied. You were. It's great.
Are you a Predator fan?
Yeah, who doesn't like Predator?
Oh, yeah.
I don't
Even
mean that
the,
guy.
Like the one the Badlands or whatever, like was really quite good. So,
Honestly, I was so shocked at how fun that one was. I couldn't believe it.
yeah, like it's not the same campy Arnold
No,
being
no, no.
whatever, but like it
But
was actually it was probably a better movie, quote unquote.
Well, I don't know about that. Original Predator is fucking high cinema. All right. From Mike, who's in Canada, he says, I drive by this election sign daily, but didn't actually think it was the Luke Thomas who was beginning his political career. He offered me free Arby's coupons to vote for him. Someone then started cutting the unkempt lawn, and Luke got really irritated. Good times. So wait, what the fuck is happening here?
I'm assuming there's a Luke Thomas running for Ward 9 in Riverbend, Byron, wherever that is. So.
Canada?
So there's a real politician named Luke Thomas running, and then he obviously added you with the Arby's coupon.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Not bad. Not bad. All right. We've got one here from Maximiliano. Let me read this one. It's a little long. He says, I wanted to submit this picture for one of the happiest days of my life. Your boy finally got married. My son even made sure I had my Morning Kombat hat on, my special day. I also wanted to share a little backstory about how Morning Kombat genuinely changed my life. About 6 or 7 years ago, the mother of my oldest 2 children tragically took her own life. I fell into a dark place filled with drugs, alcohol, and self-pity. I was trying to get help anywhere I could, but nothing seemed to work. Then one morning, after an all-night bender watching Davison Figueiredo beat Alex Perez, I got home and started scrolling through YouTube. I saw a live stream reviewing the fights and clicked on it. Who was it? A guy in a Cannibal Corpse t-shirt. I couldn't believe an MMA media member was rocking Cannibal Corpse. Then I found out Luke was a Marine veteran. As an Army veteran myself, I thought, all right, this is my guy. From that day on, I became a regular viewer of Luke's live streams. One day, someone asked Luke about his mother in a super chat. Hearing him speak so honestly about losing her and everything he went through was one of the most sobering things I'd ever heard. For whatever reason, those words stayed with me when nothing else did, and they helped push me toward getting sober. Today, I am 5 years alcohol-free. Congratulations, bro. I've rebuilt my life, and I married an incredible woman. You guys had a bigger impact on my life than you'll probably ever know. I still smoke weed every day, but these days, the biggest side effect is ignoring my new wife every Saturday night while I'm watching the fights with the boys in the main card minute live stream.
Dude, shout out Mac. He's the fucking man. First of all, he has his own YouTube and everything. Degenerate MMA fan, so everyone go give him a follow. But dude, he's really like the nicest fucking guy. He sent me a bunch of UFC cards and stuff. He's the man. So shout out Max and congrats on your wedding, dude.
Yeah, man. Congrats on the wedding. Congrats on the 5 years of staying off the sauce and all the other stuff. Thank you for all the years of support. I really, really appreciate it. I'm sure BC, I'll send this to him after the show to make sure he sees it. Would appreciate the same kind of a thing. And I wish you guys nothing but the best. Thank you so much. And have a wonderful, wonderful fucking time with each other as in this new kind of family unit that you've developed for yourselves.
Man, look at that. Look at all heartwarming and shit on this show that's just about dicks. So,
Dicks.
I mean,
dicks everywhere. Dicks.
Earlier in the show, I was getting fucked to death by an 8-dicked walrus and being mocked for the lawnmower bits, but we ended on a high note, I feel like. So there you go. All right. Jed, what do you have going for coverage this weekend or anything coming that folks should be aware of?
we have a preview show coming up in about a half hour over on the MMA Fighting YouTube channel. So tune in for that. And then, I mean, it's a busy week of coverage. We're covering the boxing. We're covering the PFL and the UFC. So all the same stuff at MMAfighting.com. And then do we have it all? What event is next week? There's something next week,
right?
Belgrade's next week. That's right. So, you know, then we'll start the whole thing back up on Sunday and keep churning it out.
What you got, Long Island?
Well, first of all, we have number 1 pound for pound versus number 2 pound for pound in prop quiz. I'm talking Jose Youngs versus Aaron Bronstetter, the rematch, baby. It airs in 30 minutes, so definitely ignore the MMA Fighting Preview show and watch that instead. Just kidding, Jed. But otherwise, I'm doing a full card watch along tomorrow, bright and early, 9 a.m. Eastern start. So be there or be square. And then, yeah.
Are you doing one for PFL?
No, I already told my girlfriend, hey, the UFC card is early in the morning, so I'm off Saturday night. And I told her that for next weekend too. So no. Also, like maybe if Musayev was still in it, I would, but especially now that he's off, I'm like, yeah, no.
Here's how we'll know when PFL's made it. when Luke's willing to disregard his girlfriend for an evening, then we'll know that PFL really is the number 2 organization.
I will say I have done it multiple times before and done a PFL watch along, but I really only do it if there's no UFC or it's on a Friday or stuff like that. So I could have done it this week, but I already told her.
John Martin, you know the standard you have to aspire to now. You got it. That's the target.
There you have it. Enjoy the fights this weekend. By the way, as a reminder, morningkombat@gmail.com is going to be for fan subs, dead wrongs to reach the show. You can become a member with badges and emojis and all kinds of other fun stuff to come. And then, of course, morningkombat.shop. You can see here whether it is the Washington, D.C. logo, doing whippets in the parking lot, Army of Donkness, you name it, 20% off of all of these until the stroke of midnight, I should say, on July 31st. And then, of course, also 50% off of all posters. And best fan sub gets a free signed poster as well. All right? Okay, for Jed, for Long Island, for everyone on the show, thank you all so much for watching. We really, really appreciate it. What are you laughing at?
The chat. There's a guy who said, it's going to be bad, my integer. And I was like, that just got me, man.
Like integer and number, they don't mean the same thing all the time. Like one is a specific kind of number. Like you can't just say number.
It's gonna be bad, my integer. It's gonna be bad.
Doesn't work that way. Okay. All right. We're getting out of here. Go learn about your integers, you fucking losers. Until Monday, thank you all so much for watching. May all of your gains be loyal.
Here we go, evil. Here we go.